In this video, we're going to do a Beegie Adair tutorial. And the reason why we're doing this is because I got a message from John Yeh a couple days ago. And John says that he would like a lesson, or like to suggest a lesson on Fly Me to the Moon, piano obviously, in the style of Beegie Adair. And it says in the near future, so I'm supposing that this is the near future. And I took a look at this over the weekend, and I decided to put a couple of tutorials together for Beegie Adair. And of course, he wants to focus on Fly Me to the Moon. So that's what we're going to do in this tutorial. The first thing we're going to do in this tutorial is take a look at the introduction and the style of block chords that she uses. And she uses a specific style that is based on a pattern that I think all piano players should know. And we're going to get started right now by listening to her introduction on Fly Me to the Moon. Let's give that a listen, and then we'll tear it apart. So I actually lifted her introduction and put it in a piece of sheet music. I'd like to focus on the patterns that she's using and the idea and the concept behind it. So first of all, she's throwing down this E pedal in the bass, which is essentially every other note. And by every other note, I mean the second beat and the fourth beat of each bar. So and in the right hand, what she's doing is playing two different chords. The first one is a straight A minor chord, not A7, just straight A minor. And she's playing them block chords with the melody duplicated in the first finger and the fifth finger, like you're doing octaves. Like that, except she's filling in the chords. So where is she getting these chords from? So obviously this is an E7 flat 9 chord. So if you go up a half step from E, you get to F. And then if you play a diminished chord on F, this is the chord that you get. And so the F diminished chord is like this. And the reason why that happens is because if you take a look at this scale that I have down here, this is an A minor scale with like a bebop scale where you've got the G sharp at the end of the scale. And if you play the chord in second position, which is A minor, essentially A minor 7th, so this is the A minor 7th in root, and this is the second position, second inversion, and then you play every other chord as an E7 flat 9 chord or an F diminished 7th chord or E7 flat 9. Those are the same chords. So okay, so let me explain one more time. If you're playing an A minor scale, bebop scale, and you're playing the A minor chord on the first chord except in second position, you've got the roots on the outside. And every other chord is an F diminished 7th chord. Actually, that's D diminished 7th, which is the same as F diminished, just in a different position. And then A minor, and then F diminished, and then A minor, and then G sharp diminished, and then A minor, and then B diminished. The diminished chords are all the same. So the first one is here, second, third, fourth. So then you're just alternating A minor and the diminished chord back and forth as you go up the scale. If you change scales to say F minor, it gets a little harder because now you're not playing all white notes. So it starts like this. And the diminished chord is different. It's like this one. So it's a different diminished chord. So here's the scale for F minor. And of course, as you're doing these scales, there really only is 3 different types of diminished chords. There's this one, and this one. And each of their inversions, which there's only 4 inversions for each one. So you're basically alternating between the minor 7th chord and the diminished 7th chord or the 7 flat 9 chord. Okay, so that's where that all comes from. So out of that, she gets this introduction that basically goes from the A minor chord, and she's putting that pedal down in the bass. So there's that diminished chord that we talked about. And all the inversions of the diminished chord. Right? So this is where the introduction is coming from, right? A minor to E7 flat 9 or the F diminished, B diminished, you get the idea. Okay, and it continues on the next line. All right, let's go back to the first line for a second and take a look at that and see where the rhythm comes into play. So you've got 4 eighth notes here, which is kind of nice. There's your diminished chord again. It's just G sharp diminished. And then the next line has this tremolo, which you're going to play like this. So the tremolo is here on the bottom 2 notes of this E7 flat 9 chord. A lot easier to play it with 2 and 4 than it is 1 and 3. Not sure how she plays it, but a little bit of jazz there, right? And that's really the entire introduction. It just goes back and forth between A minor and E7 flat 9 or the diminished chords. So E7 flat 9, here's the flat 9. And then the 3rd, 5th, and 7th. And then all the inversions of that. And then all the inversions of A minor. Okay, let's take a look at it one more time. And that last chord is really putting the flat 9 in the melody. So again, when you're playing block chords, you can think of it in terms of the A minor to the diminished chord. So minor chord to diminished, minor diminished, minor diminished, and so on and so forth. The other thing too is instead of playing the bass note way down here, you can make block chords by putting it really close like this. So you've got all the notes in between the octaves. right, so there you have the introduction to Fly Me to the Moon by Beegie Adair. We are going to, in the next video, take a look at block chords, because when she gets into the melody like this, we have to take a look at how she's moving back and forth between the chords and the block chords, and she does other things as well. Okay, so let me put a link to the sheet music up here in the corner. I've basically transcribed the introduction and the first 8 bars of Fly Me to the Moon. And I'm not going to transcribe the entire thing. The whole purpose of the next video is to get into the style of it. You don't really want to play exactly what she's doing. What you want to do is just borrow from her style, her block chords, and other things that she does. Okay, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And when you do, please hit the little bell because you'll be notified of all of the upcoming videos that we're making. My name is Tobey from JazzMentl. We'll see you in the next video.